Confidence is the invisible force that changes how the world responds to you. It is the line between being ignored and being remembered, between being overlooked and being respected. When you speak with confidence, your words travel further, your presence grows stronger, and your influence becomes undeniable. This audiobook will guide you through that journey, step by step, chapter by chapter, so your voice carries weight wherever you go. Stay with me until the end, and remember to subscribe, because what you are about to learn can transform not just the way you speak, but the way you live. Chapter 1. Stepping into the light. Every voice carries power, but most voices remain hidden in the shadows of hesitation. People dream of being heard, of standing tall, of speaking so their words echo long after they finish. Yet, when the moment comes, fear rises, the chest tightens, the mouth goes dry, and the voice that could have inspired becomes trapped behind silence. This is the story of countless lives, brilliant minds never recognized because they never found the courage to let their voices break free. Speaking with confidence begins with one defining act: stepping into the light. When you first step into that light, the world feels larger than it is. Every pair of eyes feels heavy, every silence feels endless. The space between you and the listener feels like a battlefield, and your mind fills with noise. But what you do in that moment decides everything. You either shrink back into comfort, or you plant your feet and stay. That act of staying is the seed of confidence. It is not the polished speech, not the perfect delivery, but the refusal to run when fear tells you to disappear. Confidence grows in those first small victories. It is not built in grand speeches before thousands. It is built in the moments you choose to speak up, when your voice trembles, when your heart races, when every part of you wants to be silent. Each time you speak, the silence inside you breaks. Each time you push past hesitation, your voice gains weight. Confidence is not the absence of fear. It is the steady decision to move forward despite it. To step into the light is to accept that imperfection will come. You may stumble over words, you may lose your rhythm, you may feel your breath falter, but these moments are not failure. They are proof that you are alive in the arena, where voices matter and presence is felt. Perfection has never moved people, presence has. Your audience is not waiting for flawless delivery. They are waiting for authenticity, for conviction, for the courage that shines through even when the voice shakes. Speaking with confidence begins long before words are spoken. It begins with the way you carry yourself into a room. The world notices how you enter before they hear what you say. Shoulders squared, step steady, eyes lifted. These tell a story that your voice will later confirm. The body speaks before the mouth opens, and when it speaks with certainty, the voice follows with power. Stepping into the light means owning your presence, even before you utter a sound. But the light does not belong to you alone. The moment you speak, you are no longer only holding your own fear, you are holding the expectations, emotions, and needs of your listeners. Confidence is not only self-belief, it is service. It is realizing that your words are not for display, but for connection. When you speak with purpose, when you remember that someone in that space needs to hear what you have to say, your fear begins to shrink. You stop performing and start giving. And giving is always stronger than proving. The journey of confidence is not about creating a new voice, but about uncovering the one you already have. The voice hidden beneath self-doubt, beneath comparison, beneath the noise of the world telling you to stay small. That true voice carries strength because it is honest. It carries weight because it is yours. When you step into the light with that voice, the world listens differently. Not because you force them to, but because authenticity always commands attention. Confidence is a fire that grows brighter with each use. The first spark is small, fragile, uncertain. But the more you feed it, through practice, through courage, through presence, the stronger it becomes. Soon, what once felt like a whisper becomes a flame. The moment you realize this is the moment you understand that your voice was never powerless. It was only waiting for you to release it. This is the first step in speaking with confidence, daring to step into the light, even when the shadows of fear surround you. It is not the final step, but it is the most important, because once you step forward, once you stand in the glow of presence, you will never see yourself the same way again. The world will not see you the same way either. And this is where the journey truly begins. Chapter 2. Finding your inner ground. Confidence is not only about stepping into the light, it is about finding the ground beneath your feet once you are there. Many people take that first step forward, only to feel shaken when they realize the moment is real. The audience is looking. The silence is waiting. Their heart pounds, and their body wants to escape. But true confidence is not found in the step itself. It is found in standing firm when the step has been taken. It is the ability to root yourself in presence, so deeply that the storm of nerves cannot move you. Finding your inner ground begins with the breath. The breath is the anchor of your presence. It slows the mind, steadies the heart, and strengthens the voice. Without control of breath, words stumble, sentences collapse, and the voice betrays doubt. With breath, everything changes. Each inhale fills the body with calm. Each exhale releases tension. Each pause gives strength to the next word. The breath is the invisible rhythm of confidence, and those who master it can hold their ground in any space. But grounding goes beyond breath. It is the act of claiming space without apology. When you stand tall, when your feet press firmly into the floor, when your shoulders rest open and steady, your body tells the room you belong. This is not arrogance. It is presence. It is the quiet declaration that you are here, and you will not disappear. Even before you speak, this grounded posture sets the stage for confidence. Your body becomes the frame through which your voice will shine. The mind must also be grounded. A scattered mind leads to a scattered voice. When thoughts race, when doubt screams, when fear clouds judgment, clarity fades. Grounding the mind means focusing on one truth. You are here to deliver value. You are not here to prove yourself. You are not here to perform perfection. You are here to connect, to give, to serve. That focus quiets the noise inside and brings your attention to the moment before you. A grounded mind produces a grounded voice. Emotional grounding is another layer. Nerves may always exist, but they lose power when you accept them instead of fighting them. The confident speaker does not deny nervousness. They accept it as energy, as fuel. They transform it into presence. When you ground yourself emotionally, you realize that nerves are not weakness. They are proof that you care, proof that you are alive in the moment, proof that your voice matters enough to feel. That shift transforms fear into fuel and fuel into confidence. Finding your ground also means letting silence work for you. Most speakers fear silence, rushing to fill every gap, but silence, when grounded, is power. A pause gives the room space to absorb your words. A pause shows you are in control of rhythm. A pause gives your voice weight, because it proves you are not afraid to let your words linger. Silence held with confidence is louder than noise spoken in fear. To hold your ground, you must believe in the value of your voice. Self-belief is the deepest anchor of all. If you doubt yourself, if you question your worth, your body and voice will show it. But when you know your words matter, when you trust that your perspective holds weight, you can stand steady even in the face of doubt from others. This belief does not need to be shouted. It does not need to be argued. It simply needs to be lived through presence, through tone, through steady conviction. Grounding is not about freezing. It is not about locking yourself in stillness. It is about balance. A tree is grounded, not because it does not move, but because its roots hold firm, even when its branches sway. A confident speaker is the same. Movement is natural, but the ground within remains steady. Gestures flow, but they flow from a rooted center. Words rise, but they rise from a steady breath. Confidence is not rigidity. It is flexibility rooted in strength. The audience feels when a speaker is grounded. They sense steadiness. They feel trust. They know the voice before them will not shatter under pressure. And that trust makes them lean in, listen deeper, and believe stronger. Grounding does not only calm you, it calms the room. When you are steady, you give stability to others. When you are confident, you give permission for others to be as well. This is the secret of finding your inner ground. It transforms confidence from performance into presence. You are no longer trying to appear confident. You are confident because you are steady, centered, and unshaken. And once you have found that ground, you are ready to rise even higher. Chapter 3. The Battle Within. Confidence in speaking is not only about the audience in front of you. It is about the inner war that takes place long before a single word leaves your mouth. The true battle is fought inside. The battle between doubt and courage, between silence and voice, between fear and conviction. Every person who has ever spoken with strength has first faced this inner struggle. To master your voice, you must first master the battle within. The voice inside the mind is often harsher than any critic outside. It whispers reminders of past mistakes. It magnifies the smallest flaws. It questions whether you are worthy to be heard. This inner voice has silenced more people than any audience ever could. But confidence is built the moment you stop letting that voice dictate your actions. The battle is not about silencing doubt completely. It is about choosing courage, even while doubt remains. Fear is a natural part of this battle. The body reacts as though speaking were danger, as though words could wound, as though silence were safer. The heart races, the breath shortens, the muscles tighten. But these reactions are not signs of weakness. They are signs of readiness. They are the body's way of preparing for something meaningful. When you reframe fear not as a threat, but as energy, the battle begins to shift. What once felt like chains becomes fuel. What once held you back now drives you forward. The battle within also involves memory. Many carry scars from the past, times they spoke and were ignored, times they stumbled and felt shame, times their voice cracked and they wished for silence. These moments replay in the mind, keeping the voice small. But the confident speaker learns to reframe memory. Instead of seeing failure, they see lessons. Instead of shame, they see growth. Every stumble becomes proof of resilience. Every mistake becomes training. When you shift memory from enemy to ally, the past strengthens your present instead of weakening it. Self-image shapes this battle as well. If you see yourself as small, your voice will sound small. If you see yourself as incapable, your voice will hesitate. But when you begin to see yourself as worthy, as capable, as someone with value to give, your voice begins to rise. Self-image is the lens through which confidence is projected. Change the lens, and the sound changes with it. This is why true confidence cannot be faked. It must be lived, rooted in the way you see yourself at the deepest level. The mind also plays tricks by exaggerating the stakes. It tells you that one mistake will ruin everything, that one hesitation will end your credibility forever. But reality is far gentler. Listeners do not remember every slip. They remember the overall presence. They remember how you made them feel. They remember the strength in your steadiness more than the stumble in your delivery. Understanding this truth weakens fear's grip. The battle shifts when you realize that perfection is not required. Presence is. To win the battle within, you must train your inner voice to support you instead of sabotage you. Affirmation is not empty words. It is training. Each time you remind yourself that you are strong, that your voice matters, that your presence carries value, you are rewiring the mind. Over time, the inner critic loses power, and the inner coach rises. Confidence grows not only from outer practice, but from inner dialogue. The words you tell yourself become the foundation for the words you tell the world. Stillness is a weapon in this battle. When doubt screams, stillness answers with calm. When fear races, stillness answers with breath. When shame echoes, stillness answers with presence. By returning to stillness, you remind yourself that you are grounded, that you are in control, that the noise inside does not define you. Stillness is not emptiness, it is strength. It is the calm center from which the confident voice emerges. This battle is never fought once and for all. It returns each time you step forward, but with each victory, it grows weaker. Each time you choose to speak despite doubt, you prove to yourself that your courage is stronger than your fear. Each time you rise after a stumble, you prove that resilience is greater than perfection. Each time you claim your ground in the face of nerves, you prove that your voice is stronger than silence. Confidence is not about never facing the battle. It is about becoming skilled at winning it. The battle within is what makes confidence real. Without it, confidence would be hollow. Because you fought for it, because you earned it, because you chose it again and again, your voice carries weight. People hear more than words when you speak. They hear your journey, your resilience, your decision to stand tall despite the struggle. That is why the most powerful voices are not the ones that never shook. They are the ones that shook but still spoke, and in speaking, they became unshakable. And so, the journey continues. Each step forward is not only about conquering the audience before you, it is about conquering the doubts within you. Each chapter of this journey will take you deeper into that transformation. For now, remember this: every voice that commands the world first commanded itself. The next step is learning how to shape that command into influence that others cannot ignore. Chapter 4. Breaking the Chains of Fear. Fear has silenced more voices than failure ever has. Fear has stolen opportunities, broken dreams, and kept countless people from stepping into their own strength. To speak with confidence, you must first confront fear, not by waiting for it to vanish, but by learning how to walk through it. The truth is, fear will always rise when your voice rises. It comes because the moment matters. It comes because you are stepping into a space where your presence cannot be hidden. But fear does not have to be your master. It can become your servant. Fear lives in anticipation. It fills the mind before the words are spoken. It imagines the worst: rejection, judgment, ridicule. These thoughts create storms long before the real moment arrives. The confident speaker learns to separate imagination from reality. They recognize that fear's pictures are illusions, shadows on the wall. The audience is not there to destroy them. The silence is not there to expose them. These are projections of the mind, not truths of the moment. And when you see fear as illusion, it begins to lose its power. But confidence is not pretending fear does not exist. Confidence is standing while fear shouts. It is breathing while fear shakes. It is speaking while fear whispers that you cannot. Fear is energy, and energy can be redirected. When your heart races, it is preparing you. When your body shakes, it is fueling you. When your thoughts rush, it is sharpening you. Fear is not the signal to stop. It is the signal that you are alive in a meaningful moment. The chains break the moment you decide fear will not be the reason you remain silent. One way fear disguises itself is through perfectionism. It tells you not to speak until your words are flawless. It convinces you to delay, to rehearse endlessly, to wait until everything is perfect, but perfection never arrives. Confidence does not come from flawless words. It comes from authentic presence. Listeners do not remember polished lines as much as they remember conviction. Fear tells you perfection is required. Confidence tells you presence is enough. When you accept this, the chains of fear begin to loosen. Another way fear binds you is through memory. It clings to past failures and replays them like endless film. A stumble years ago becomes the reason you hesitate today. But memory can be refrained. What once humiliated you can now teach you. What once silenced you can now strengthen you. Every mistake carried forward is proof that you survived it. If you survived then, you will survive now. If you learned then, you will be stronger now. Fear thrives on memory used as chains. Confidence thrives on memory used as fuel. Fear also exaggerates the gaze of others. It convinces you that everyone is waiting to see you fall. In truth, most people are too focused on themselves. They are not analyzing your every move. They are hoping for connection, for meaning, for value. When you shift your perspective from "they are watching me" to "I am here for them," the weight of fear lightens. Fear shrinks when the focus moves outward. Service dissolves self-consciousness. Breath is the weapon against fear in the moment. When panic rises, the breath becomes shallow, the body tightens, and the voice breaks. A single deep breath grounds the body, slows the heart, and clears the mind. Breath is the pause that reminds you, "I am steady, I am here, I am ready." Fear cannot survive in a body that breathes with calm. Every inhale pulls you back to strength. Every exhale releases the grip of tension. Practice is what breaks fear's pattern over time. Avoidance makes fear stronger. Exposure makes it weaker. Every time you face fear, it loses some of its hold. The first step is shaky, the second still uncertain, but the 100th becomes natural. Confidence grows, not because fear disappears, but because you have walked through it so often that it no longer surprises you. Fear may knock, but consistency keeps the door closed. Breaking fear's chains requires courage. Courage is not the absence of trembling. It is the decision to speak while trembling. Courage is not the absence of doubt. It is the choice to move despite doubt. Courage is the bridge between silence and voice. Each time you choose courage, each time you speak through fear, your confidence expands. The chains weaken. The prison door opens. The voice becomes free. And once fear no longer controls you, a new horizon appears. You begin to realize that fear was never the real enemy. It was only the shadow guarding the gate. Beyond that gate is power. Beyond that gate is presence. Beyond that gate is the freedom to speak with a voice that is not chained, but unbound. That freedom is where the journey leads next. Chapter 5. The Foundation of Self-Belief. Confidence does not begin on the stage. It begins inside. Before your words reach another's ears, they must first pass through your own belief. If you do not believe in yourself, your voice will always betray hesitation. The foundation of confidence is not built on applause, praise, or recognition from others. It is built on self-belief. Without this foundation, every technique collapses. With it, every word carries weight. Self-belief is the recognition that your voice has value. It is the refusal to measure your worth against someone else's voice. Too many remain silent because they think others know more, speak better, or deserve more attention. But the truth is, no one else carries your perspective, your experiences, your story. If you do not share it, the world loses something it will never receive from anyone else. Self-belief is not arrogance, it is responsibility. It is the decision to honor your own voice, because silence steals more than sound. This foundation grows in small moments. Every time you choose to speak when silence would have been easier, every time you share an idea when fear tells you to hold back, every time your words land and make a difference, you lay another brick. Confidence is built, not in a single leap, but in countless small steps, each one proving that your voice deserves space. Over time, those steps form a foundation strong enough to hold you even in the largest of moments. Self-belief is strengthened by integrity. If you live disconnected from your values, your voice will always feel weak. But when your words and your life align, when what you say matches who you are, your voice gains unshakable power. People listen not because your delivery is perfect, but because they can sense truth. Confidence is never louder than authenticity. When you speak with alignment, You do not need to force your voice. It flows naturally because it comes from a place of conviction. Resilience also builds this foundation. There will be times when you stumble, when you falter, when your delivery is far from flawless. But these moments do not destroy self-belief unless you allow them to. Confidence is not about never falling. It is about rising again, about proving to yourself that mistakes are not the end. Each time you recover, your self-belief deepens. You begin to trust yourself not because you are perfect, but because you are unshakable. Comparison is the thief of confidence. When you measure yourself against others, you give away your foundation. Their journey is not yours. Their voice is not yours. Their strengths do not diminish yours. The confident speaker looks inward, not outward. They measure growth against yesterday's self, not against someone else's success. This is why true self-belief feels unshakable. It does not depend on being better than others, only on being stronger than before. The inner voice is the builder of self-belief. If you constantly feed your self-doubt, your outer voice will always sound uncertain. But when your inner voice speaks encouragement, strength, and conviction, your outer voice grows steady. The mind is always listening. Sift to yourself with the same confidence you wish others to hear. Each word you tell yourself builds the ground beneath you. Purpose gives self-belief its deepest roots. When you remember why your voice matters, why your words could inspire comfort or guide, fear loses its grip. Self-belief grows when you see your voice not as a performance but as service. You stop asking, "Am I good enough?" and start asking, "Who needs to hear this?" That shift transforms insecurity into responsibility and responsibility into confidence. Over time, self-belief stops feeling like effort and becomes identity. At first, you must remind yourself, encourage yourself, push yourself. But with consistency, belief becomes natural. It becomes the ground you stand on without thinking. Your voice no longer questions whether it belongs, it simply speaks, because belonging is no longer in doubt. This is the foundation of self-belief, a ground that cannot be shaken by fear, failure, or comparison. Once you stand on it, your voice rises differently. It no longer needs permission. It no longer begs for approval. It carries itself with quiet certainty, and that certainty makes people listen. And once this foundation is strong, you are ready to build higher, to shape not only belief within yourself, but influence in the minds of others. Chapter 6. The language of the body. The voice is powerful, but it never speaks alone. Every word you deliver is carried by the silent language of your body. Before your audience absorbs the meaning of your sentences, they are already reading your posture, your eyes, your movements, the rhythm of your hands, the energy in your stance. This silent communication is often louder than the words themselves. If your body betrays doubt, no amount of strong words will fully convince. If your body radiates certainty, even the simplest words will command attention. To speak with confidence, you must master the language of the body. The body does not lie. A shaky hand reveals nerves, shifting feet reveal unease, lowered shoulders reveal hesitation. The audience may not analyze these signs consciously, but they feel them. Something in them whispers that you are unsure. On the other hand, when your body is aligned, shoulders upright, movement steady, gaze centered, they feel something different. They sense calm, strength, and trust. The body broadcasts what the voice cannot hide. Posture is the foundation. When you stand tall, chest open, spine straight, and feet grounded, you signal to the room that you belong there. Posture is not only about appearance, it is about psychology. The way you carry yourself changes the way you feel. Shrinking makes you feel small. Standing tall makes you feel strong. Your posture speaks to you first, then to the room. The confident speaker understands this and uses posture as the anchor of presence. Gestures shape meaning. When your hands move with purpose, they underline your words. An open palm signals honesty. A steady hand emphasizes conviction. A controlled motion makes your words easier to follow. But uncontrolled gestures, restless fidgeting, repetitive movements, random pacing distract the listener and dilute the message. The confident speaker allows gestures to flow naturally, not forced but intentional. The hands become an extension of the voice, echoing its rhythm and power. The face is another canvas of communication. Expressions reveal emotion, and emotion deepens connection. A calm expression reinforces steadiness, a warm smile softens the room, a serious gaze sharpens the message, blankness creates distance, while exaggeration feels false. Authentic expression bridges the gap between speaker and listener. Confidence is not a mask you wear, it is alignment between your inner state and your outer face. When your expression matches your words, trust grows naturally. Eye contact is perhaps the most powerful signal of all. The eyes reveal truth faster than the tongue. A wandering gaze shows distraction. Eyes lowered show uncertainty. Eyes locked too rigidly show insecurity, disguised as intensity. But steady, balanced eye contact shows confidence. It says you are here, present, unafraid to be seen. The audience feels acknowledged, respected, and included. Confidence is not staring, it is connecting. It is meeting eyes long enough to show presence, then moving naturally to include others, weaving connection across the room. Movement across space speaks volumes. Nervous pacing communicates a desire to escape. Stiff stillness communicates fear of being noticed. But purposeful movement transforms space into an ally. Stepping forward as you emphasize a point makes it more personal. Pausing in the center of the room anchors energy there. Shifting slightly at moments of reflection changes the tone of the conversation. The confident speaker moves with intention, never to release nerves, but always to shape energy. The space itself becomes part of the message. Stillness is as important as movement. When you stand grounded, body steady, breath calm, your silence becomes magnetic. People lean in, waiting for what will come next. Stillness communicates control. It says you are not rushing, not running, not panicked. You are rooted. Confidence shines brightest in stillness, because stillness proves you are not afraid of silence, not afraid of space, not afraid of being fully seen. The language of the body is built through awareness. Most people are unaware of their habits: crossed arms, restless fingers, hunched shoulders, darting eyes. But awareness changes everything. When you begin to notice these patterns, you can correct them, not with force but with small adjustments. Straighten the spine. Relax the shoulders. Uncross the arms. Slow the breath. These subtle changes accumulate until your natural posture becomes confident, not forced. The body also influences the mind. When you stand tall, you feel taller. When you breathe deeply, you feel calmer. When your gestures are steady, your thoughts follow steadiness. This feedback loop works both ways. Doubt makes the body small, but changing the body can change the doubt. Many discover that adjusting posture, breath, and movement transforms not only how they are seen, but how they feel inside. The body trains the mind as much as the mind trains the body. Owning the language of the body means letting every part of you reinforce your message. The voice speaks, the eyes affirm, the posture anchors, the hands emphasize, the breath steadies. When all of these are aligned, the message becomes whole. When they are disconnected, the message fractures. The confident speaker is not perfect, but they are aligned. Alignment is what creates authenticity, and authenticity is what creates power. And when you master this silent language, your words no longer stand alone. They are carried by presence, wrapped in trust, and delivered with conviction that cannot be faked. This mastery prepares you for the next stage of confidence, not only holding yourself steady, but shaping the rhythm of your entire voice, so that every sentence moves with influence. Chapter 7. The Rhythm of the Voice. Every great speaker carries something beyond words, something beyond posture or presence. They carry rhythm. Rhythm is the hidden music of confidence, the flow that makes a voice magnetic. Without rhythm, words scatter like stones across water. With rhythm, words move like waves, steady, rising, falling, carrying the listener with them. To master rhythm is to master the art of holding attention, because the human mind is designed to follow cadence. Confidence is revealed in pacing. Nervous voices rush, racing through sentences as if to escape. Fear makes words collide, spilling one over another until meaning blurs. But confident voices slow. They breathe between phrases. They allow silence to stretch without panic. They move steadily, guiding the listener as if walking hand in hand. Pacing is not speed. It is control. It is the ability to decide when to pause, when to push forward, when to let a word hang in the air until it echoes in memory. Pitch creates shape in rhythm. A flat tone numbs the listener, no matter how important the message. But when your voice rises with energy and lowers with calm, when it bends with sincerity and steadies with conviction, it becomes alive. The confident speaker does not fear variation. They allow their voice to move like a song, not exaggerated, not artificial, but natural and alive. The rhythm of pitch makes the listener feel what the speaker feels, carrying emotion as well as meaning. Emphasis builds rhythm. Not every word deserves equal weight. Some words must be delivered like anchors, sinking deep into memory. Others flow lightly, carrying the listener to the next thought. A confident speaker chooses which words to strike with force, which to glide, which to repeat. This selection is rhythm. It shapes the journey, ensuring that the listener not only hears but remembers the heartbeat of the message. Silence is the rhythm no one expects. Most speakers fear it, rushing to fill every gap. But silence, when used with intention, becomes the strongest beat of all. A pause before a point builds anticipation. A pause after a point lets it settle. A pause within a story allows the listener to breathe with you, to feel the weight of the moment. Silence is not the absence of sound, it is the presence of control. And when you hold silence with confidence, the listener leans closer, waiting for what comes next. Breathing ties rhythm together. Each inhale prepares the voice, each exhale carries it. When the breath is shallow, rhythm collapses. Words spill without flow, leaving the listener lost. But when the breath is deep and steady, rhythm holds. The confident speaker does not fight their breath, they ride it. Each phrase begins with an inhale, each finish settles with an exhale. Breath is the metronome of confidence, the steady beat that carries the voice forward. Repetition is rhythm's secret weapon. A phrase spoken once may be forgotten. Spoken twice with rhythm, it begins to stick. Spoken a third time with rising conviction, it becomes unforgettable. The confident speaker is not afraid of repeating words when meaning demands it. Repetition is not weakness. It is rhythm engraved into memory. When done with purpose, it transforms a moment into a message that lives long after the sound has faded. Emotion fuels rhythm. A mechanical rhythm bores, but a rhythm infused with real feeling moves the heart. Anger sharpens cadence. Joy lightens it. Sadness slows it. Passion drives it forward with force. The confident speaker allows emotion to shape rhythm, not to overwhelm but to guide. The listener does not remember exact sentences. They remember how the rhythm of your voice made them feel. Rhythm is not only sound, it is experience. The rhythm of the voice is also the rhythm of connection. As your cadence steadies, the audience unconsciously breathes with you. They lean when you lean, rise when you rise, settle when you pause. Rhythm pulls them into harmony. This is why confident speakers feel like they are speaking directly to each person in the room. The rhythm creates intimacy. It feels personal, even in a crowd. To master rhythm is to understand that speaking is not merely communication. It is performance, it is presence, it is leadership. The voice becomes not only a carrier of thought, but a conductor of emotion, a guide for energy, a leader for attention. Rhythm transforms ordinary speech into unforgettable impact. And once you hold this rhythm, once your voice moves not in panic but in flow, you are ready to go deeper. You are ready to not only carry words with rhythm, but to fill the very space around you with presence so complete that the room itself bends to your confidence. Chapter 8. Owning the space. Confidence is not only about words or rhythm, it is about presence. A truly confident speaker does not just deliver a message, they command the space they stand in. The moment they step into a room, before they even speak, something about them shifts the atmosphere. People notice. Heads turn, silence sharpens. This is not magic, it is the result of learning how to own the space. Owning the space begins the moment you enter it. Every step, every gesture, every breath announces who you are. If you walk in small, hurried and unsure, the room decides for you that your presence is weak. But if you enter steady, grounded, and centered, the room senses authority. This is not about arrogance. It is about assurance. Confidence shows not by how much space you take, but by how comfortably you exist within it. The confident speaker does not shrink, and they do not overcompensate. They simply belong. The way you carry yourself sends a message long before your voice does. Shoulders drawn back, head lifted, movements unhurried. These signals tell the room you are in control. They create a sense of calm for others, because steadiness is contagious. People may not know why they feel drawn to you, but they do. Your body tells the truth. You are here. You are ready. You are not leaving until the moment has been lived fully. Space responds to energy. A person can shout and still fail to command a room because their energy is scattered. Another can whisper and yet make the entire audience lean in because their energy radiates. Owning the space is not about volume, it is about presence. When your energy is aligned with your message, it expands outward until it touches every corner of the room. This is why the confident speaker feels larger than life. Their presence fills the air. Movement within space must be intentional. Nervous pacing weakens presence. Stiff stillness suffocates it. But deliberate, purposeful steps transform space into an ally. When you move toward your listeners, you draw them in. When you pause firmly at the center, you anchor attention. When you shift slightly to one side, you change perspective and create intimacy. The confident speaker treats space as part of the performance, not as a barrier, but as an extension of voice. Stillness holds equal power. When you stand rooted, unmoving and silent, the room freezes with you. Stillness creates tension, anticipation, and gravity. It tells the audience that you are not in a hurry, that you are not afraid to be fully seen, that your words carry such weight they can stand on their own. In those moments, your presence becomes unforgettable. Owning the space also means creating connection within it. Presence is not about dominating, it is about including. When your eyes travel across the room, meeting gaze after gaze, each person feels acknowledged. When your gestures open outward, you invite people into your circle. When your voice fills the silence, without rushing, you make the space feel safe, alive, and shared. Confidence is not about standing above the audience, it is about standing among them, yet still leading them. Breath remains your anchor here as well. Every deep inhale grounds you, every controlled exhale expands you. Breath connects body, mind, and space. Without it, movements feel restless, energy feels uneven, presence feels fragile. But with steady breath, your energy flows smoothly, and the space bends with you. You own it, not by force, but by calm authority. Owning the space is also psychological. You must decide that you belong there. No matter the size of the stage, no matter the number of eyes, no matter the weight of the silence, you belong. If you doubt this, the room will feel it. But if you embrace it, the room will follow you. Presence is belief made visible. The space reflects the certainty you carry within. And when you master this, something remarkable happens. The room no longer feels overwhelming. It feels like yours. The stage no longer feels like a battlefield. It feels like home. The audience no longer feels like strangers. They feel like participants in a shared moment. This is the gift of owning the space. It transforms fear into belonging and belonging into power. Once you learn to command space, you are ready for something greater. You are ready to not only be seen but to be remembered, because the next step in confidence is shaping words so clear and sharp that they cut through noise and remain in the mind long after the space has emptied. Chapter 9. The Power of Clarity. Confidence without clarity is like thunder without lightning, loud but without impact. A voice may be strong, the body steady, the rhythm controlled, but if the message is clouded, it slips through the listener's mind like water through open hands. True confidence requires clarity. Clarity is what makes words land, what makes presence unforgettable, what makes the difference between noise and influence. Clarity begins in the mind. Before a single word is spoken, thought must be shaped. A scattered mind produces scattered words. A focused mind produces focused speech. The confident speaker does not rush to fill silence with whatever comes. They pause, they center, they choose. This act of choice is what transforms sound into meaning. To speak with clarity, you must first think with clarity. Clarity lives in simplicity. Many believe they must impress with complex language, long sentences, and heavy words, but confidence does not hide behind complication. Confidence shines in simplicity. The strongest voices are those that speak plainly, without disguise. Simplicity does not weaken the message, it sharpens it. It cuts through distraction, leaving only what matters most. When your voice is clear, your audience does not work to understand you. They feel you instantly. Clarity is also about pacing. Words delivered too quickly blur together. Words delivered too slowly lose energy. But when paced with balance, each thought lands fully before the next begins. The confident speaker does not rush to prove themselves. They allow each sentence to breathe, trusting that silence is not their enemy. Silence is the frame that makes words stand out. In this balance, clarity lives. Tone carries clarity beyond the words themselves. A voice that wavers makes meaning uncertain. A voice that steadies makes meaning strong. The rise and fall of pitch, the warmth of sound, the conviction behind emphasis, all of these help the audience not only to hear, but to feel. Clarity is not mechanical. It is emotional. It is how tone guides understanding, how rhythm carries the heart as well as the ear. Clarity is respect. When you speak clearly, you honor your audience. You respect their attention by not wasting it. You respect their mind by not confusing it. You respect their heart by not overloading it. Confidence is never careless. It is intentional. A confident speaker knows that clarity is the highest form of generosity. It makes the listener's path smooth, their understanding easy, their experience meaningful. Authenticity strengthens clarity. Words without truth become fog. When you mean what you say, when your message rises from conviction, it sharpens like glass. People sense it, they lean in, they remember. Clarity is not about perfect grammar or flawless structure. It is about alignment. It is about speaking from the truth within, so that your words shine without distortion. Clarity is also built on structure. A message without direction confuses. A message with flow guides. The confident speaker does not wander endlessly, leaving listeners lost. They move with intention, leading from one thought to the next, each connected, each necessary. The listener follows without struggle, because the path has been cleared for them. Structure turns speech into a journey, and clarity makes that journey unforgettable. Even mistakes can be held with clarity. If your words stumble, if your mind falters, confidence does not collapse when clarity remains. A steady pause, a deep breath, and a return to the point restore trust. The audience does not demand perfection. They demand presence, and presence, when rooted in clarity, survives any stumble. The power of clarity is that it makes confidence real. Without clarity, confidence is appearance. With clarity, confidence is substance. People may forget the exact words you spoke, but they will never forget the way your clear voice cut through distraction and gave them meaning. Clarity turns a moment into memory and a speaker into influence. And once you learn to sharpen your words, once you learn to speak so that meaning cannot be missed, you are ready for the next stage. You are ready to move from clarity into connection, not only being understood but being felt. Chapter 10. Building emotional connection. Confidence in speaking is not only about being heard, it is about being remembered. Words that are clear, strong, and steady may reach the ear, but they will not stay unless they reach the heart. The greatest speakers are not only masters of rhythm, presence, and clarity, they are masters of connection. They know how to bind their voice to the emotions of others. They know how to transform their message into something felt. This is the difference between being listened to for a moment and being carried within someone for a lifetime. Emotional connection begins with authenticity. People sense when words are real. They sense when the voice carries truth instead of performance. The confident speaker does not hide behind masks or rehearse feelings they do not believe. They allow their true emotion to color their tone, their eyes, their breath. Authenticity builds trust, and trust builds connection. Without trust, the voice is empty. With trust, even simple words carry power. Connection grows through vulnerability. Confidence is not the absence of vulnerability, it is the courage to reveal it. A speaker who admits struggle, who shares doubt, who tells stories of pain or failure, does not lose respect, they gain it. Vulnerability makes the speaker human, and humanity creates connection. The confident voice does not pretend to be untouchable, it chooses to be real, and in being real, it becomes relatable. Empathy deepens the bond. To connect emotionally, you must feel with your audience. You must sense their state, their needs, their silent questions. Confidence here is not about pushing your agenda, but aligning with theirs. When they are heavy, your voice softens. When they are restless, your voice steadies. When they are weary, your voice carries light. Empathy is rhythm tuned to the listener. It is presence that adapts. It tells them without words, I see you, I hear you, I understand. The rhythm of storytelling fuels emotional connection. Facts inform, but stories move. A story takes raw truth and dresses it in memory, experience, and feeling. The confident speaker weaves stories not for decoration, but for connection. A single lived moment can speak louder than 1,000 ideas. Listeners may forget statistics, but they remember how a story made them feel. Through story, you place part of yourself into their memory, and they carry it forward long after your voice has gone quiet. Silence becomes part of connection as well. When you share something heavy and then pause, you allow the listener to breathe with you, to feel with you. Silence honors the moment. It shows you are not rushing through emotion, but letting it rest. Confidence is not afraid of these silences. It trusts that the heart speaks as loudly as the voice. Clarity of intention also matters. Emotional connection weakens if your goal is self-centered. If you speak only to prove yourself, listeners resist. But if you speak to serve, to uplift, to help, connection flows naturally. People feel your purpose even more than they hear your words. When your heart aims to give, your voice gains a magnetic pull. Confidence here is not selfish. It is generous. It is rooted in service. Eye contact makes connection personal. When your eyes rest on someone, when your gaze softens with sincerity, They feel seen. They feel chosen, in the moment. The confident speaker does not scatter attention endlessly. They meet eyes one after another, weaving a web of presence until the whole room feels included. Emotional connection is built not by addressing a crowd, but by connecting with individuals inside it. Patience is essential. Connection cannot be forced. It cannot be demanded. It must be grown. Every pause, every gesture, every story, every tone of voice builds it layer by layer. The confident speaker trusts the process. They do not rush to impress. They allow presence to grow naturally until the bond is undeniable. And when that bond is built, something changes. The audience is no longer passive. They lean forward. They nod. They breathe with you. They feel what you feel. Your words are no longer only yours. They become shared experience. This is the ultimate mark of confidence, not that you spoke and were heard, but that you spoke and were felt. Once you master emotional connection, your voice moves from being sound in a room to being memory in a life. It transforms from a performance into a presence that lingers. And once you hold that power, the next step awaits, the ability to sustain this presence not just once, not just in rare moments, but with consistency so strong that your confidence becomes unshakable no matter the stage. Chapter 11. The strength of consistency. Confidence does not come from a single performance. It is not a spark that appears once and burns forever. It is a fire that must be fed. Every great speaker, every strong communicator, every leader who holds the attention of a room has built their confidence through consistency. It is not the moment of applause that makes them strong. It is the countless unseen repetitions, the hours of practice, the willingness to show up again and again, even when it was uncomfortable. Consistency is what transforms speaking from something you do into something you are. At first, you must think about every detail, the breath, the rhythm, the posture, the tone, but the more often you practice, the more these elements become natural. The body learns, the mind adjusts. What once felt forced becomes instinct. This is the gift of consistency. It turns effort into habit, and habit into identity. Confidence built on a single event is fragile. A stumble, a failure, a harsh judgment can shatter it. But confidence built on consistency is resilient. You no longer depend on one success to prove your worth. You have a foundation of repeated victories, small and large, that remind you of your strength. Even if you falter today, you remember the times you stood steady before. That memory keeps you grounded, and you rise again. Consistency is also what earns trust from others. When people hear you once, they may admire you. But when they hear you again and again, when they see that your voice is steady across time, their respect deepens. They know your presence is not a performance, it is who you are. The world trusts what is reliable, and a consistent voice becomes a voice people rely on. The discipline of consistency requires patience. Many people want confidence quickly. They speak once, feel nervous, and decide they are not meant for it. But confidence is not built in a day. It is built day after day. The nervous speaker becomes the steady speaker not by avoiding the stage, but by returning to it repeatedly. Each return weakens fear. Each return strengthens presence. Each return proves that growth is possible. Consistency is also the path through failure. No matter how skilled you become, mistakes will happen. Words will stumble, minds will blank, silences will stretch too long. But consistency teaches you that mistakes are not the end. They are part of the process. You return, you try again, you grow stronger. Confidence does not mean never falling. It means trusting yourself enough to rise every time you fall. Self-belief deepens through consistency. Each time you step forward, you build evidence against doubt. You can tell yourself you are capable, but nothing proves it like experience. Confidence grows not in theory, but in action. Every repetition is proof. Every attempt is a record. Every moment you speak becomes another stone in the foundation. Over time, this foundation becomes so solid that doubt cannot shake it. Consistency also creates mastery. Once the basics become natural, you can refine the details. You can experiment with tone, play with silence, shape rhythm more precisely, command space with greater ease. Confidence grows not only in size, but in depth. You move from surviving moments to mastering them. This mastery does not come suddenly. It emerges quietly through the patient accumulation of practice. The world respects consistency because it reveals character. Anyone can shine for a moment. Few can shine every time. Anyone can prepare once. Few prepare every day. Confidence that lasts is confidence that is lived. When speaking becomes part of who you are, when presence becomes woven into your daily life, you no longer need to search for confidence. It is already there. And once you learn to hold this strength, to return again and again until your voice is not only steady but reliable, you are ready for the next stage of transformation. You are ready to move beyond technique and consistency into true influence, the ability to not only hold your own confidence, but to ignite it in others. Chapter 12: The Voice of Influence. Confidence matures when it stops being about you. In the beginning, every effort is about overcoming fear, standing steady, shaping rhythm, owning the space. But once these layers are built, confidence evolves into something greater. It becomes influence. Influence is the ability to shape not only how you are seen, but how others feel, think, and act because of your voice. A confident voice does not end in self-assurance. It extends outward, leaving echoes in the hearts of others. Influence begins with presence. When you walk into a room with grounded energy, people notice. They sense steadiness, they sense conviction, they sense trust. Presence alone is a form of influence because it shifts the atmosphere, but presence combined with voice magnifies that power. Your tone guides attention, your rhythm shapes focus, your clarity directs understanding. Influence is built not on force, but on gravity. It is the pull of a voice that people choose to follow. A voice of influence is not loud, it is steady. Loud voices may demand attention for a moment, but steady voices keep attention. Loudness fades when force ends. Steadiness lasts because it builds trust. Influence is not created by overpowering others, it is created by aligning with them. When people feel you respect them, when they feel your words carry weight, born of authenticity, they lean toward you instead of away from you. That leaning is influence. The confident speaker learns to speak, not just to be heard, but to be remembered. Memory is the soil where influence grows. This is why clarity matters. This is why rhythm matters. This is why emotional connection matters. Each of these leaves an imprint. People may forget the details, but they remember the experience of listening to you. Influence is not about filling their minds with endless words. It is about planting seeds that grow long after your voice is silent. Influence deepens through empathy. When your voice shows that you understand the struggles, hopes, and fears of those before you, your words carry greater weight. Influence is not about standing above people. It is about standing with them while still guiding them forward. When your voice reflects their reality yet lifts them toward a higher vision, they trust you, they follow you, they let your words move them. A voice of influence also carries vision. People do not follow confidence alone, they follow direction. The confident speaker paints pictures of what could be, of who people can become, of where they might go. These pictures give purpose to the moment. They turn words into possibility. Vision is the horizon that draws people beyond themselves, and the voice that points toward it becomes unforgettable. Influence is sustained through integrity. If your words inspire but your life contradicts them, the influence dies. But if your words and your actions align, your influence multiplies. People believe not only because they heard you, but because they saw you. Confidence here is not only in delivery, it is in consistency of character. Influence that lasts is born from lives that match the voices that inspire. The voice of influence does not need to dominate. It does not need to argue endlessly or drown out others. It simply speaks with such steady conviction that silence respects it. People do not resist because they sense no pretense. They sense truth. They sense conviction. They sense service. Influence does not feel like control. It feels like trust earned over time. And once you reach this stage, your voice becomes more than yours. It becomes part of something larger. It becomes a tool that shifts moments, shapes decisions, and lights paths. Confidence has transformed from survival into service, from fear into power, from sound into legacy. But even influence is not the final stage. There is still one more step, the final chapter of the journey. After learning to overcome fear, ground yourself, master rhythm, own space, and build influence, the last transformation is about identity. Not just speaking with confidence occasionally, not just influencing sometimes, but becoming the kind of person whose very presence is confident everywhere they go. That final chapter is where everything comes together. Chapter 13. Becoming the voice. Confidence is not a technique you use. It is not a mask you wear. It is not even the voice you practice. Confidence, when fully lived, becomes identity. It becomes the way you carry yourself in silence, the way you breathe when no one is watching, the way your presence fills a room before your words begin. This final stage is not about learning new tricks. It is about becoming. When you began this journey, confidence felt distant. It looked like something other people had. You thought it belonged only to leaders, to performers, to those born with certain qualities you lacked. But now you know that confidence was never out there. It was always within. It was buried under fear, hidden beneath comparison, silenced by doubt. Every step of this path has been about uncovering it, layer by layer, until the voice within you rose clear and strong. To become the voice is to realize that speaking confidently is no longer something you prepare for. It is something you live. It flows in your conversations, your decisions, your daily actions. The same steadiness that carries you on stage carries you in a quiet meeting. The same presence that commands a room carries you at a dinner table. Confidence stops being situational. It becomes natural. The voice you build is not for performance. It is for presence. It is the reflection of who you are when all disguises are gone. When you walk into a room, people sense it. They may not know why, but they feel calm. They feel guided. They feel lifted. This is not because of perfect words, but because of the certainty within you. Confidence has become the air around you. Becoming the voice also means responsibility. When people listen, you carry influence. Your words can heal or harm, inspire or discourage, guide or mislead. To live as the voice is to carry that weight with care. It is to understand that confidence is not license to dominate, but a gift to serve. You no longer speak only for yourself. You speak for those who cannot yet find their voice. You become strength for the silent, clarity for the confused, courage for the fearful. This transformation does not erase struggle. Even now, fear may knock at the edges, doubt may whisper, but they no longer rule. You know how to breathe through them, how to stand steady despite them, how to move forward even when they follow you. That is what separates you now. Confidence is not the absence of weakness, it is the mastery of it. The voice you carry now is not fragile, it is not temporary. It is forged through consistency, through failure, through resilience, through the fire of experience. It has been built so deeply that it no longer depends on applause, approval, or recognition. Whether alone or before thousands, your voice holds steady. Whether accepted or challenged, your voice does not fade. It has become part of you, inseparable, undeniable. To become the voice is to move beyond the need for attention. You no longer chase validation. You no longer wonder whether people will listen. You know your voice has value, whether whispered in private or spoken before the world. You are not desperate to be heard. You are certain, and certainty carries further than volume ever could. In the end, confidence is not about conquering the world, it is about conquering yourself. It is about choosing again and again to rise, to speak, to stand, to believe. Each moment you do, the voice inside becomes louder than the fear outside. And when that inner voice becomes your constant companion, you no longer try to sound confident, you simply are. This is the final transformation. You are no longer practicing techniques. You are no longer preparing yourself to enter the light. You are the light. Your voice is no longer something you find. It is something you live. And everywhere you go, the world will feel it.